right. Well, hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our Users Unite webinar. We hope you were all able to get your favorite foods on Grubhub. So for those of you that don't know, I am Diana Gomez, the Customer Success Manager here at Strategies Group, and we have put together an information-packed webinar today. So first, we will be doing a demonstration from our Vice President of Construction Solutions, Daniel Collins, as well as our Director of Client Onboarding, Marissa Henderson. So they'll just be laying out some beneficial tips and tricks, as well as some underutilized functionalities of Acumatica. So after the presentation by Strategies Group, we will be turning it over to DataSelf. We'll be turning it over to the CEO, Johnny Girardi, for a presentation on BI and their solutions. So a few housekeeping things before I hand it over to Daniel and Marissa. Please put all of the questions and comments in the chat box below. We'll be answering those at the end of the webinar. And we will also be sending a recording of this webinar, for you to review. So be on the lookout for that. And if you have anything that you would like to add or hear during these webinars, feel free to reach out to me. All right, I'll hand it over to Daniel and Marissa to begin their presentation.
All right, welcome everyone. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do today, there are side panels throughout the system. So if you're relatively new to Acumatica or you're just getting started, maybe you haven't used them all that much, but you've got these things called side panels. So essentially, they're going to be on your generic inquiry screens a lot of times. You can come over here. And so this is a project detail that I'm looking at. You can click this side panel. You can see it's the project icon. And so what that'll do is actually bring up my project for me to be able to see all the details of it in this side of my screen. And let's try another one, get it to load for me. Might need a hard refresh. 1 second here, y'all. There we go. Just wasn't patient enough. Okay, so I've got my side panel. It's going to pull in job 27 over here. So I can look at it. I can expand my screen. They're really good for productivity's sake so that you can walk through, and as you click through, it'll update the project over here so you can take a look at the next project and look at your rev budget, anything like that. So these are great, and they're really easy to add to a generic inquiry, which is what this screen is. But let's say I'm functioning, let's go to this project here. Let's say I'm here where I live most of the day on my project screen because it's got tons of relevant information. So I can check costs, revenue, anything like that, change orders, commitments. I can do all of that checking here. But I would like to have a side panel because let's say I'm a PM and I want to see what bills are on this job. So an easy way to do that is to put a side panel in. It's a little bit different than doing it on a generic inquiry. So we're going to walk through that. So this is a customization project. And you can see here what I did. So I went to my screens, customized existing screen, and found my project screen. I can then come down to my actions buttons. And a lot of times, this is where you set up actions such as, create a task or something like that from the screen. You can see a lot of these exist out of the box. So what we're going to add is this AP Bills side panel. So let's click into that. You can see the navigation type is set to side panel, and you can see my destination screen is here. So that just tells it where it's going in the system. Display name is going to be what shows on that side panel. And very, very important here. The most important thing you're going to do is choosing your icon. This has to be correct. You cannot get this one wrong. So take as many hours as you need there. We're moving down to the navigation parameters. So this is going to tell me what I can pass into that specific generic inquiry. And I built this one specifically to show project related information. So I'm passing in this project ID, right? This is the value from my screen that I'm currently on, passing into the project filter, and then that's getting passed into the generic inquiry to give me all the AP bill details related to this project. So that's the basics of adding the side panel for the AP bills. And I will show you what that looks like just in a moment here. But that's about the end of everything that I know how to do in the system. So I'm going to ask Marissa to walk me through adding a button to create a project dropship.
Oh my God, that's not true, by the way. It's like the master of the GIs. But so if you want to, you're working in a project screen, for example, right? Just like Daniel was talking about earlier, you a lot of things within one screen in Acumatica, utilizing the full functionality of the system, like those side panels. But what about a button? So say, for example, I want to add more to what is available to me. So like Daniel just clicked on the three little dots, and you can see what's available that I can do from this screen. For example, if I need to create a commitment in the system, I have that functionality available, but what about a drop ship? So if I am a project manager and I need something created on a purchase order and I want it drop shipped to a project, under that commitments, what is that category listed up there? I can't see that option. Project dropship is not listed. So what we're going to show you is how to add that functionality. So if you go back to your customization project, and we are going to be here where you have the actions. And so we're going to add a new action into the system. So you're going to give it an action name. So you can call it whatever you want. When you're adding the action name, do something that feels right in your heart, Daniel. What do you think? Project dropship, something like that. Button.
I probably would misspell it if I followed my heart, but all right.
All right.
Like
so
that.
If, as you can see, as you're adding the action name, you want to be mindful to make sure that there are no spaces. It's just something little thing you have to do in the system. When you get to your display name, that's when you can label it the way you want to see it. So you want to put some spaces in there. So you can do project dropship. You can do create project dropship, add those spaces, whatever you want to do to so that it makes sense to you. Once you have that added, then we're going to move on to just building out the configurations of it. So let's do our action type. And so from here, we want to create a record. So it's not like the last one Daniel was showing. It's not a side panel. We want the system from the project screen, create a record for us. So we have that. And then under the category section, this is where we're going to tell the system which heading we want to put it. So in the previous screen, we had the three dots. And when you open the window, you had different headings. Which heading should this button appear? So if we're creating a project dropship, it is a commitment. So we might add it to the commitments. Once you have that added, then we can choose the destination screen. So what you're telling the system is, as I create this new record under the commitments category on the project screen, where should I take you? So this is where you're going to click that little magnifying glass. You have a couple options. You can, if you know the screen ID, you can add that there, which is like Daniel's showing you there, or you could just type it in. So project dropship is coming from the purchase order screen. So we can start typing in purchase orders. And from here, you got a lot of different options. So Daniel, can you show them in the little header up there where you see screen ID equals?
Yes, and so we'll take a look at that. So we're going to come in here and we're going to go to purchases and we're going to go to purchase orders. So all screens in the system have this screen ID, right? It's equals screen ID equals, and that's what we're looking for. So we're going to actually drive into the data entry screen. There we go. And it looks like here is the screen ID I want. So then I would essentially reference it over here.
And just to keep in mind, so you know when Daniel came to the main entry screen, you had a PL at the end of the screen ID, but once you get into the record, so that's what you want to look for. You're looking for the specific screen you need to be in to create the record. So you don't want to be on the GI screen that had the PL at the end. You want to be on the screen you're actually putting in the data. So you're going to choose that purchase order screen. And then you're going to tell it the window mode. So this is where you can do whatever feels best to you. Do you want the window to open in the same tab? So it's going to take you from projects right into the purchase orders. It's similar to when you're using the pro forma invoice. If you're using that on the project screen, it will change screens and take you right to pro forma. You could do a pop-up window, or you can have it open it in a new tab. So whichever one you feel is best for you, you choose it here.
All right. There is a wrong answer to this one. So we're definitely going with the new tab.
That is a true statement.
All right.
All right, so once you have that in there, then you're going to rights to enable action. So here's where you're going to set up the rights like you would on your user security. So the rights are, do you want somebody who has access to the project screen also to have access to do this? So you're going to set that there. So you're going to do, which one are you going to do?
Probably select. So anyone who can see the screen can create a purchase order from it.
Awesome. All right. So once you have that there, then you're going to do to your navigation parameters and click your plus sign. And now you're going to define out in the system what you want it to do. So now it's going to get a little bit techie, but not. But you're going to tell the system once we get to that commitment screen and it's going to have a button of create project dropship. Now I need to tell the system what to do without me doing more than clicking that button.
Okay. And a good way to start with this is to test it here. So if I click the plus, what happens? What are the red stars I need to put in? You know, what information do I need to give the system essentially? So let's start at the top.
All right. So like you see at the top, the type, every purchase order, when you use standard out of the box, it always comes in normal. We don't want to do it as normal because it's not a normal PO. We're going to do a drop ship. So Daniel selected the from schema field right here. What that means is instead of entering in a random value that you type in, it's going to pull from the list that shows up on that drop down from normal. So you have all of those options there. So you're going to select project drop ship. And then, of course, you could do this for anything. We're just showing you project dropship, but if you want to do this for a different type, you could choose it there.
All right. What else do we need, Marissa?
So we're going to need a vendor in the system.
All right. So if we have a default vendor, we can plug one in. I believe. Okay. So if I change this. Perfect. That's what I was looking for. So
the project.
Yes. One of the main reasons we want to do this is I know I'm creating a purchase order from a project. Let me pass it in there. All right. And we're going to pass in the project ID. All
and
right.
Daniel, can you show them how they would know between those two options for project ID, which one to choose?
Yes, I can. So if I go here, Control Alt click turns my little mouse into an inspect element. You can also do it up here, inspect element. So let's do that. And it actually gives me a lot of information I can dig into. This is my DAX schema browser. We won't get into that, but that's one of the coolest things that Acumatica added in 21R2. But it gives me all of my database table relations. And so I'm going to let it load here. You'll see why it's taking a little bit in a second. It is loading every database table in the system and all the field names so that I can click through them. All right. So it's a little bit in the weeds, not very relevant unless you're creating information, but I would scroll down to the bottom and I would look for purchase order to project. There we go. Project ID. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. So I've got that set. All right. Bring that back over here. And I did not mean to click that. Okay. So do we need to do anything else or we think we're good with this?
I think we're good with this.
Okay. Only one way to know, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, I've got my customization project. I'm going to go ahead and go over here and let's see.
So while Daniel's doing that, so what he's done is he's added the button, he's created it in the system and have it going to the purchase order screen. And so what he's doing behind the scenes is he is publishing this in the system. So as he publishes this in the system, you're going to go back to your project screen. And now when you're in a physical project, instead of just seeing the standard functionality, you're going to see a couple of things that were added. You're going to see that new drop ship button available there. You're going to see all of those different features to go from the project screen, it'll take you right to the purchase order screen where it'll pull in your project information and you can finish it up from there. You can add your vendor, add the details of the PO, your inventory ID, whatever is needed.
All right, while we're waiting for this, one thing to take into consideration is if you're publishing multiple projects. So just be aware of that. We always recommend if you're not comfortable with projects, let us know, reach out. We're more than willing to help. All right, just give it another second here. Okay, so we now have our project screen. We've got our AP bills. Let's see, is there one that actually has some in here, Marissa?
Number 19, project 19.
Perfect. Let me navigate to that project for you.
So like with Daniel, now you see the side panel when you come into the project. So now if I'm a project manager, I don't need to get into the revenue budget, cost budget, the balances tab, drill into the transactions. I can see because of a special GI that was made and a side panel added, I can see the details of every AP bill related to my project. And just as a reminder, everything that has a blue or a blue and underline is a hyperlink. So your PM, if he has rights, he can click on this and go right into the AP bill to see the details of it. All right.
Opened up, perfect. So they can drill in as long as the access rights are there. We also can take the hyperlink away. A lot of times you want to keep it to here's what's specific to your project. You don't need to go looking at anything else. And this is a way to give them that access. The last thing is we have our button here. So let's try it out. Okay.
And because we have it added in the back end to open a new tab, you still have your project screen open. And now you can start with your project information. The type is already changed for you as project dropship, and you can begin to enter your PO's information.
All right. It's a simple thing, but it does save some time, and you can even get more specific with it if you'd like. So we can basically pre-fill so many different details in here. So just an idea of some of the things the system can do for you to make your work life easier. And that is all we had, Selena and Diana. Any questions from the audience?
Yes, I have one question from the audience. Is there any way to do this with more than just an AP bill?
Yeah, so a lot of times we'll see, for instance, a purchase order. You can have the status on the purchase order lines over here. You can have anything that relates back to this record shown on the side. So if I want to show the customer, because I don't want to navigate away, I can do that. I can show a whole different, you can actually get into some dashboarding over here, do some widgets to show status of things, you know, AP last 90 days, AP past due. There's a couple different things you can do, and it's not just the AP. You can do AR, you can do anything that has a link to the project. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Daniel and Marissa. Aren't they great? So next we have a presentation from Johnny at DataSelf. Johnny Girardi is the founder and CEO of DataSelf Analytics. They've been helping decision makers solve common reporting challenges and make data-driven decisions since 2005. DataSelf is the only BI tool used in-house by Acumatica themselves. So thank you for joining us, Johnny.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
For the introduction, Diana, Randy, Pat, and the rest of the team, thanks for the opportunity. As Diana mentioned, I've been a big data geek for the last 15 years. And my mission and my team's mission every day is to help small and medium-sized companies make more informed decisions. And boy, you know, it's becoming more and more of a big need. As Diana mentioned, Acumatica uses DataSelf internally as their own own BI solution to help management. Well, let me move along here. So why is analytics today becoming so important? Well, more than ever, with all this crazy world, is becoming more critical for managers to make decisions anytime, anywhere, without having to call someone else to ask for questions. And even with Acumatica, Acumatica has great reporting tools, the designer, the ARM, the building dashboards. But still, if you look at your own business, when managers ask for new reports and dashboards, usually they have to wait for someone else in the organization to spend time, sometimes building a new GI, exporting to Excel, doing data consolidation, and then they have to wait. And many times people cannot wait. They have to make a decision. Either they make with the information they have in their hands or they just wing it. So analytics is becoming more important because it empowers the users, the decision makers, to be more self-sufficient, to make, to find answers to their own questions. And at the same time, it empowers the people who usually build reports and dashboards with a much more powerful tool that will allow them to build more complex reports in a much faster fashion and to run things more automated. So that's why analytics is so important. This slide is a little bit heavy, but primarily the idea is there are a lot of different questions that decision makers need to be answering on a daily basis. And many times, every new question is a new report. Pretty much DataSelf provides on day one, out of the box, answers to a lot of critical questions, in sales, in services, construction, financials, inventory, and it provides you with tools to easily customize them. And I'll show this in a few examples as I go through the product presentation. From a technology standpoint, the DataSelf Analytics 1, 2, 3 advantage is people have challenges pulling data out of their Acumatica system and questions. What's going to happen with my cash flow? Do I need to write off bad debt, and why? Am I having too much inventory on hand? If you have inventory on hand, what's happening with my gross profit? So step one of DataSelf is taking the data from your data sources like Acumatica and transform that data in a format that is easy and fast for reporting. Step two, we use the best-of-breed technology available out there to deliver reports easily, quickly, anytime and anywhere. And right now, the two most famous and popular solutions are Tableau and Power BI. But at the end of the day, what decision makers really care is what we call the insights. They want to see, key performance indicators. They want to see the reports and dashboards, and they want to be able to slice and dice them. Out of the box, we have packages. You can start with the entry level. We have a few dozen reports and dashboards. In the high end, provides more than 8,000 reports and dashboards ready to go on day one, looking at all over the business, services, projects, cash flow analysis, and whatnot. So let's take a quick jump into the product to see how it works. And right now, I'm showing a web browser portal that is outside of Acumatica. However, why I'm showing outside of Acumatica? Many decision makers, they are not necessarily in Acumatica, but they want to access reports and dashboards. And that's one of the advantages. DataSelf can be embedded in Acumatica, so you don't have to get out of it to see reports and dashboards. But you can also access completely independent from Acumatica. And we can bring other data sources, not only Acumatica. You want to see payroll, Google Analytics, everything can be brought into the DataSelf. Now, what I'm going to show in the next few minutes is a few different ways that people use DataSelf. One is some of the dashboards that are very popular in the Acumatica and also in the construction vertical. And also a little bit, I'm going to show distribution manufacturing. Then I'm going to show how decision makers can make ad hoc questions in DataSelf and get instant accurate answers without calling anyone else. And third, I'm going to show how the people that usually take care of them, the GIs and the reports, how they can become more efficient building reports and dashboards with a solution like DataSelf. So first of all, let's just show the most popular reports and dashboards in DataSelf. And again, I'm going to spend a little bit more time in construction because I know many of you are in the construction business. And actually, I should have loaded my page first. All right. So the WIP report in Acumatica is really good. People that come from all the ERP systems and they go to the WIP report in Acumatica, they usually praise how well the WIP report works. But when people are trying to slice and dice the WIP report, quite often becomes a export Excel. And then they go to Excel and they start to do, massage the data. Sometimes they want to do multiple report sheets, and if you have a lot of data, it becomes cumbersome. With DataSelf, we can have a WIP report at first looks like Acumatica, but then comes the magic. Let's say I see a data point here, like this project here. I see some data points that I want to see more details about it. I don't want to see a GI with all the details. I want to see just my tasks at the high level. I just select that particular report or project, and at the bottom, it pops up this whole task section. All the tasks associated with this project are at my fingertips very quickly, and I can analyze them. And then I can further slice and dice it or drill down until I go to a GI level, which is what people usually go at the end if they need to see the details. And here is also a click away. Let's say I want to see for all my tasks, I want to see the transaction details. So in this example, the transaction details showed on a third panel. Top panel is the WIP, second panel are the tasks, third panel are the transactions. Hey, Johnny, I cannot see a lot of transactions because I have a lot of records. Where are they? Well, I can click a button and put this whole section in its own page. And now I can see in a better format, and I can filter things quickly and easily to slice and dice my WIP transactions. So the ability to be within the same framework, within a website, not having to export to Excel and slice and dice it, is something we can provide. And usually without it, you'd have to export to Excel and do some more massage and call for, for the experts. So that's the WIP framework and, how it can be taken care of. Dashboards in DataSelf, they're amazingly insightful and dynamic. I'm showing a contract dashboard that is popular. Primarily, you see your contracts, descriptions, the actual revenues you're getting from them in a given period. You see the cost and you see the gross profit, everything in a single page. And then for all the projects, you can see your revenues by task and by gross profit as well. And typically when people look at this, sometimes you want to see what's happening that this project is so much more profitable than the others. You click on that particular data point and automatically it will start showing you the details, something that Acumatica usually, if you click on a data point on a dashboard, you go straight to the GIs, and we can create multiple layers before you go down to the GI level to show you first KPIs at the high level. One thing we provide that actually I believe Acumatica still doesn't is interactive Gantt charts. In projects, usually people do Gantt charts in different tools, sometimes even in Excel, and it can be really time consuming. In DataSelf, Gantt charts are automatically populated, refreshed and calculated, as your data comes in. So being able to see Gantt chart is also a big topic. In the construction, receivables sometimes is a big deal. So let me show the high-risk debt customers dashboard. This dashboard here is to focus the analysis in which clients are a high-risk debt bucket. What you can see here, the due dates, the due buckets, and how much you have in open receivables by due date. You can see how much of the total is normal customers or high-risk customers. And how we calculate high-risk customers is an internal formula that can be customized. Usually means clients that have a lot of, past due over, let's say, 30 days. If it's less than 30 days, sometimes it's not high risk. Over 30 days, we high risk, and then we can highlight them. And this dashboard shows you all the customers here, high risk and normal, and it uses the bars to show how much they owe you. and the bar colors is the same as this legend. So you can tell this one has a lot of, past due that are over 30 days. And you see the details. And again, everything is very easy to interact. If I only want to see customers that invoices that are in this particular aging, I just click on that data point, and the whole dashboard changes only to show me the customers in their invoices that are 31 to 61 days. Very easy, again, to slice and dice this information. If you know in Acumatica, pretty much you only have this section here, and if you want to slice and dice it, usually export Excel and take the time. Here is already built in and easily customizable. So that's a quick perspective into receivables. Some of our clients that work in the service and construction, they also have asked us to embed or to combine in the receivables also pro forma invoices. Invoices that are not yet invoiced, they're still being worked on, but they will affect your short-term cash flow. So you want to see, or some of these companies want to see, pro forma invoices combined with the open receivables, and we can do that behind the scenes. So a dashboard like this will be showing both pieces together. Another important area for many businesses is cash flow projection. And primarily here, what we do out of the box is we take the open receivables, which is inbound money, open payables, which is outbound money. We seek out how much cash you have today, look at your GL and your payroll for the last few months to project what's the expected cash flow projection considering those parameters. And this is, today, and then you can see cash on hand today, and then the up bars is money coming in, the down bars is money going out, and this would be the aggregation of what your cash flow projection is. This can be highly customized. Again, you might have some data points to feed into this cash flow projection, things coming from Excel, things coming from other modules in Acumatica, such as recurring bills or revenues. But out of the box, we can help you have better visibility into cash flow, not only from a chart standpoint, but also seeing all the details here, which is the combined AP and AR. Again, highly customizable, or if you want to slice and dice, I'm going to see what's happening in these few days of my data. If I select them, it will filter my section here to only show the invoices that are in those few days. Let me just pick one of them just to show a smaller set of data that relates to that big drop, in my cash flow projection. Very interactive. Financials, P&L, balance sheet. Many of the construction clients that we have worked with, they want to combine financials from different business units. Sometimes they have multiple different business units, the construction, they might have manufacturing, they have distribution, transportation, whatnot. And with DataSelf, we can easily combine financial from different Acumatica entities and even other ERP systems to show consolidated ways to analyze the data. The last module that I want to show that is also very popular across all our client base, including construction, distribution, manufacturing, is the sales analysis. Many organizations that are very sales driven, they spend quite a bit of time trying to understand the threats and opportunities in their sales efforts, customers, projects, salespeople. So I'm going to show a few of the dashboards that have proved to be very popular for better sales analysis. The first one is the year-over-year variances. This is the most popular dashboard in the Acumatica market that is using DataSelf. And this dashboard is a little busy when you look at first, but the idea, again, is simple. I want to see your year-over-year variances. So right now I'm looking at this year total, last year total, in the variances in dollar and percentage. The year is right now selected by 2022, and I'm looking periods from 1 through 7. And let's say I want to look at periods 1 through 9. I can just select those 2 periods extra, press apply. And right in front of my eyes, the whole dashboard changes to select 2 more periods. Then I can see the variances. I can see the trend analysis by period. If I have a ship to, my projects are in different locations. If I'm shipping products, I can see how well I'm doing from a geography standpoint. Then I see my customers on the top right, the prior year sales, this year sales, and the variances. And the same thing at the bottom, which could be items, could be projects, could be service, could be anything that is in your invoice detail. Now, again, it's nice to see this information readily available, automatically calculated. Anytime you go there, you see these trends. But the biggest value of DataSelf is providing management with easy way to slice and dice it. For instance, I look at my customers and I see a customer with a lot of sales with a big decline since last year. Why is that happening? In Acumatica, if you have this perspective, you can only go to the details and see a GI information. With DataSelf, if you select a data point in a dashboard, like I'm doing right now, it will filter everything else, all the other widgets. So right now it's showing me the totals only for Marina Gulf. It's showing the trend analysis, the ship to locations, and then the items or projects that are driving the main sales and decline. And here I can easily see, let me sort this by descending order of my sales decline. And I see that these 3 different products, they are driving the biggest decline. Maybe now I actually want to see the GI information. So here I can just select which of the data points I want to see the details. I don't want to see everything. I only want to see about these 3 items. I can select those 3 items. Again, the dashboard changes to reflect that. And I click show details. And now I'm ready to see a GI kind of information. And if I wanted to export Excel, now I could, in a single click, export all the details into Excel. Again, giving decision makers the ability to slice and dice it quickly and easily will offload those people that are usually building reports and dashboards to be focusing in more critical functions, while decision makers will be more empowered. They'll make more informed decisions in a timely fashion. I'm going to show 2 more examples, then I'm going to show how to customize things. Another dashboard that is really popular in our client base is salesperson performance. So if you have salespeople and you want to see how they're doing versus the quotas, this dashboard is a way to see the total for a period. Have you met the quota? If yes, it's green and it's above the quota. Then you can see a breakdown by salesperson. In the lines is the quota, in the bar is the actual revenue. In the color of the bar represents if they have met, it's met, almost, or low in regards to the quota. So you can see that perspective by salesperson, by customer here, and then here you can have at the bottom projects, services, and things of that nature. So very popular way also to analyze performance. The last example that I want to show is actually a concept, the concept of the daily flash. A daily flash is usually a customized dashboard that each decision maker or groups of decision makers will have to monitor what's happening today that they should be aware of. The great things happening today, or the things that are really bad that you should know today, not a week from now, not a month from now. Even with Acumatica being web-based, with all the reporting tools that they have, many times people come to us, ask us, we still don't have visibility to critical KPIs on a daily basis. We still have to ask people to do massage the data, export to Excel, and sometimes it still takes days, sometimes weeks, and even a month to get a KPI that mattered back a month ago, not now. So the daily flash is the idea of putting together reports and dashboards, automating the process, so every decision maker will have what they care, showing the threats and opportunities as they happen, not later on. And again, highly customizable. Everything that I showed you so far is available out of the box. We deploy, up and running. You see that information. What I'm going to show you now is how to customize this framework. And I'm going to cover 2 different audiences. First and foremost is decision makers. What I showed you right now is out of the box. You guys can customize to make it specific to your needs. But what happens when the decision maker has a question that these reports don't answer? And they don't know how to build a report in Acumatica. What happens with that? Well, today they have to wait. They have to talk with someone and wait until someone puts together the perspective. And again, many times they just cannot wait. They have to make a decision now. Either I make an informed decision or I use my gut feeling and good luck. Hopefully it is a good decision. Let me show how the solution works, those use cases. We have what is called natural language query. Natural language query is reporting on steroids using a similar framework as Google or Bing. You ask a question, and then the tool, if it understands your question and it finds your data, it will give you an instant accurate answer. Unlike Google, where you have an internet article, ours will give you a report answering that question. So right now I'm connected to a sample database looking at my sales information. Let's say I'm the VP of sales, and I want to see sales by salesperson this year, the total sales. Well, I simply type in sales by salesperson. And as I'm typing, you see that it's kind of building and understanding what I'm typing and trying to figure out, what I'm typing, what John is typing is what he wants. So I can double check. Yes, I want to see some of sales. Yes, I want to see by salesperson, but I want to see in 2022. And then right there, it found, document date 2022. So it interpreted my question, and now comes the magic. I press enter, and the tool will instantly, accurately answer that question with a report. This is not magic. This is technology. It's using artificial intelligence and machine learning to help decision makers find answers to the questions without calling anyone else. So in this example, by salesperson, I see sales in a descending order in that period. All right, what if I want to break it down by month now? Well, you type in by month, and guess what? It understood. I press enter, and magic happens again. So, but for every salesperson, for all the months, I see sales looking at a line chart. Many decision makers love charts. Many don't. What if I don't want to see a chart? I can quickly say, don't show me a chart, or show me a different kind of chart, or just show me the table, show me like in Excel. So there it is in Excel. And if you want to export to Excel, it takes a few clicks and you can get it in Excel in case you want to. Let me show you two more examples. What if I want to see my top 10 customers by sales in Q1 2021? It's a more elaborate question. It understood. I press enter, and it gives me the answer. In this case, the top 10 are in blue, and it decided to give me everyone else as well as in gray. So it gave me an answer that actually fulfilled my question. My last example is I want to see sales by ship to state. And then I press enter, and then it gives me information on a map using the color legend. Now, some of you might be scared. Oh my God, this is gonna, get me fired. No, it will not get you fired. This is not to replace humans. This is to answer what we call simple questions that people can articulate, the computer can understand and answer accurately. Many times, many problems, they're not simple, and natural language will not answer the question. So you still need people that know business, that know Acumatica, that know BI tools and reporting to actually design the sophisticated reports. And once you give these two groups of people these tools, management be more able to get their answers by themselves, especially simple questions with natural language, and give business analysts with a tool like DataSelf, boy, your informed decision process is going to go through the roof. Much better decisions, more timely, and your business is going to fly. Now, what I'm going to show the last part of my presentation is how the tool works when it comes to building reports or dashboards. I showed you a bunch of fancy dashboards, what it takes to learn how to build something as sophisticated as this. No natural language here is absolutely report design. I'm going to show you that now. I'm going to show the report designer in DataSelf, and I'm using Tableau as the built-in engine. We also support Power BI as the other engine. If I'm talking Greek, doesn't matter, you know, you don't need to care what the tool is behind the scenes. What you should care is what comes with DataSelf is best of breed reporting technology, easy, fast, empowering for decision makers and for report designers. Let me show how to build a report from scratch here. Let's say I want to see sales by customer for the past 2 years. Right now, I'm already connected to my sales, and I just need to find my customer, which is right here. I drag and drop it to my report. These are my customers. I want to see sales. I take sales, drag and drop in the report. So sales by customer. I want to see by year. I find my invoice date and put in my columns. It's drag and drop. If you know how to drag and drop, you can do a lot. Well, I only want to see the past 2 years, so I can tell to make my year as a filter, and now it shows as a filter, and I just want to see my last 2 years. And there it is, sales by customer in the last 2 years. If you try to build from scratch the same report I just did in Acumatica, usually a business person cannot do it. With DataSelf, even this, a business person might learn how to do drag and drop and take care of some simple reporting. What if you want to add more components? Maybe you want to see by item, by service. You take the item, drag into report. Now you see sales by customer, by item, by year. What if you want to see more things like quantity sold? You drag and drop. About a lot of the customization DataSelf is mostly drag and drop. You still need to go to training. You still have to learn a lot of things to make really elaborate and sophisticated reports and dashboards. But the basics are amazingly empowering and amazingly easy to learn. All right, so I hope you found this overview informative. Let me switch back to my PowerPoint again. And actually, let me switch things here. I'm gonna change the display settings. So what would be the next steps in case you're interested in DataSelf? So first of all, contact your VAR, strategic group, to learn more, and we'll likely want to get a call to discuss your specific needs and see, you know, how this can help. So absolutely, feel free to contact them and us. Usually a big question is pricing. Will DataSelf break the bank? The answer is absolutely not. So let me go back here. If you go to dataself.com, there's a lot of good materials. I highly encourage you to visit these 5 different buttons that will give you a big perspective into the value we provide. We have the full pricing right here. And our pricing is entry level, $400 per month. Most of our clients start with this level and they never leave to the more expensive versions. So likely you might stay here. We also offer a free trial if you want to use this solution for 30 days, quick and easy. Larger clients, more sophisticated, more data, then we have the Pro and Enterprise, and the price goes up. But overall, we don't break the bank. Our technology is fairly straightforward for the value we provide. So pricing is that. And again, free trial is easy and quick to deploy DataSelf. Usually once we discuss it, you decide, go pretty much tomorrow, pretty much in the same day sometimes, we bring your data up and running. With that in mind, I would like to open for questions and answers.
Thank you for that amazing presentation, Johnny. Like you said, it's not magic, it's technology. So let's hand it off to our marketing manager, Selena, who will be addressing the questions in the chat.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I have a few questions in the chat. The first one, I think you answered during the call, but I just want to make sure. It says, these are existing reports that DataSelf has already developed. Can the existing reports be customized to pull additional info from Acumatica or not pull some of the material? So I think you did already answer that, but if there's anything else you would like to add on that.
I'm glad you're paying attention. Appreciate it. No, yes, absolutely. And as I mentioned at the very beginning of the presentation, even though we provide a lot of out-of-the-box reports and dashboards, so on day one, you don't have a blank sheet, you have a lot of things, but the biggest value of DataSelf is to providing you, your management, and your business analysts with the best tools for each one of you, so you become more self-sufficient. So yes, you can customize it, the existing reports. You can build new ones from scratch. You can even bring more data. It's not only for Acumatica. Do you have data in Excel? Do you have data in Google Analytics? Do you have some kind of PM system that's outside of Acumatica? We can bring all of your data together. That's the data transformation, and have a single version of the truth. So when management goes for the reporting, it's all there. It's all their data. We, the techies, the business analysts will take care of the back end. So when decision makers want a different reporting dashboard, we can quickly deliver, and it's customized to each individual group of people.
Yeah, thank you for that. There's also two more questions that I have. One of them is, how long does it take for DataSelf to get up and running?
I love this question. For most clients, once you go for the green light, let's do DataSelf. Primarily, we only ask a username and password to your Acumatica system. Depending what version you have, pretty much the username and password with the proper rights. You give us that, and then sometimes in a few hours, maybe tomorrow, the system is going to be up and running. It takes very little resources, human resources from your side and from Acumatica for DataSelf to be up and running. If you have an older version of Acumatica, then you have to upload a customized package, which is a bunch of GIs that we use with the older Acumatica versions, so Acumatica can render to DataSelf the proper data, your sales, your financials, and whatnot. Anyhow, human effort, once you say go, is usually 15 minutes of your time to create a DataSelf user and give us information. And pretty much in a few hours, and if you have a lot of data, it might take a day or so, the system will be ready with the report that I showed you today in this demo.
That's awesome. That's such a quick process. I have one last question. It's, how much training does it take to get DataSelf? Like, how much training is required of the end user?
Well, if you have middle school, you're ready to use DataSelf. The natural language part, it's not a joke really. In the natural language part, if you know English and you can articulate questions, some people can't, but if you can articulate questions in English, you got to know English. The system would answer the questions like I showed. Now, that's what we call the simple questions. Then there's the other section, which is for more business analysts, that they have to learn the report design. The most popular training class we provide for report design is 8 hours long, is web-based, instructor-led, and is very popular. Once you go to that 8-hour training, it's pretty much, you learn what it takes to do 80% of the customizations. You can do a lot of complex customizations with 8-hour training. Now, DataSelf uses, high-end technology. Behind the scenes, we have SQL Server, we have ETL, we have Tableau and Power BI servers. So if or when you want to become a data geek and become really doing a lot of magic, as they say, in the BI world, then learning the backend can take more time. But we have some clients that completely rely on an external agents like DataSelf or the VAR to do their backend things, and they just focus on the front end reporting. And we have many clients that learn everything DataSelf, the backend, the SQL, and everything else, so they can become completely self-sufficient. Make a long story short, most of our clients invest 8 hours of training to become pretty self-sufficient when it comes to report design and customizations. Besides, middle school, which is 3 years, right?
Well, that's all the questions I have. If you all have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Diana, I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody. This has been great. Thank you to all who joined today, and we hope that you learned something new and benefited from this call. So be on the lookout for our next quarterly customer webinar and for the recording of this one. I hope you all have a great day, and feel free to email any of us on the strategies group team if you have any additional questions.
Diana, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you all for spending some time with us today.
Of course, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.